Okay, and we're back. Oh my
Yay!
gosh, I
Problem
was
solved,
just thinking like we
hopefully.
haven't had like a bad technical difficulty in a while. Like we're doing a good job. And then silence.
It's our brand, though.
It
You
is our
guys,
brand.
you expect it.
Oh, do you know who I hated? I hated Yvonne and
That's
her.
yeah, that's the swimmer girl, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure that's who it is, but I want to make sure.
I just
Yeah,
like first I couldn't stand how she like didn't believe them and then she like actually threw like all their files on the ground.
yeah. The only smart thing Avon does is when they're going to get the ultrasound. And she's like, Alice is sitting there talking about, but I gotta tell them about Freddy. And
Uh-huh.
Bob's like, no, you don't like
Yeah.
do that because they're gonna think you're crazy and want to take your kid away. And it's like, yeah, that's what
Yeah.
normal people would be.
I forget who had just died and the police came and oh no, it was Yvonne had been attacked and the police came and they were like, "You guys are lucky you weren't both killed." And she's like, "No, he wouldn't kill me. He needs me alive." And the dad is like, "Oh my God, she's just really stressed out. Like, don't pay attention to her." Like,
Yeah, that's like one thing that's really fucking annoying about it.
yeah.
It's like
She's just so dumb.
everybody has to know about Freddy. It's like this isn't even your first time dealing with Freddy. You should know no adult's gonna
I
fucking believe you.
know. I thought Freddie creating that like comic book world was pretty cool, like as an artist.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, very creative. Oh, which reminds me of in the sixth one how weird he was when he turned that kid into like a video game.
Boing, boing, boing.
Yeah.
Like that was actually just funny.
And I know a lot of people complain about how in the sixth one, Freddy basically turns into Bugs Bunny.
Oh, he kind of does.
But after reading Robert Englund's book,
Uh-huh.
I can't blame him. Like I mean I never blamed him anyway because he does the best with what he's given because
Yeah.
he's just great. But he was saying that when they gave him the script for that one, they were like, we want this one to be more fun and like comedic.
Yeah.
So think like Looney Tunes, and it's like, okay, so yeah, of course it's gonna come off like fucking Bugs Bunny.
Well, then he actually nailed it if the
Yeah,
direction that he got was think Looney Tunes. Like,
yeah,
he did it.
yeah,
Everything that Freddie wasn't a part of, I was really like not excited. I was having fun when they got to the town, like I was saying before, and like all the adults were
yeah,
crazy, and I thought that
yeah.
was cool. But then I quickly lost interest when it shifted away from the adults being crazy and like into
Freddie had a kid.
yeah, I don't want Freddie. Why would Freddie even do that when he hates kids and
Yeah,
people? And then the
and
whole like father-daughter thing.
yeah, dude, the sixth one is
Ugh.
just a very thinly veiled fucking father-daughter incest fetish film.
It was so bad. Like it was so uncomfortable. They showed so much of like her being like pawed by that guy.
We had the thing at the beginning where she beat up some dude at that
Yeah.
shelter because he touched her.
Yeah.
And they're like, she doesn't like to be touched. And her therapist is like, oh, she had a really traumatic past. And she's like talking about how horrible her dad is. And it's like, you get it.
And the stoner kid, I guess, is talking about how annoying his dad is, and she's like, "Don't
Yeah.
talk to me about fathers." And I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I see." And then they're
Yeah.
just like, "In case you didn't get it, let's show it to you." And I'm like, "No, no, no." I can't remember which movie it was that had a Nietzsche quote. I think it was this one.
Yeah.
And then it has welcome to primetime bitch as the quote from Freddie like right after. Starting with those two quotes juxtaposed was like so my humor, like both of our humor.
The whole thing about like over 10 years,
Uh-huh.
Freddie kills all the kids and teenagers in Springwood. And Like, this is just proof because, there's always the people on the internet, they're like, this character is like a perfect example of some stupid thing. Like,
Yeah.
Harry Potter is like a perfect example of why you should never give up on your dreams or
Oh,
whatever. But
yeah.
it's something stupid and it usually doesn't make sense.
Right.
But Freddy is the perfect example
What a great
of
point.
how you can fucking like set your goals and fucking achieve them,
You can
because
be anything.
he's like, I want to kill all the kids of the parents that fucking killed me.
Mhm.
And then he does it.
That's how you
So,
start. You start small and simple. Like, he didn't get ambitious and say, like, I'm going to kill all the kids in America. He started with, like, a realistic goal, which was, like, I'm going to destroy the kids whose families destroyed me. And he took his time and he got that done. And then he
yep.
set the next goal and the next goal, and look at him now. This is still from the fifth one, but I thought it was so stupid when like Alice is trying to get everyone to understand that they're in danger, and then they're all like, "Well, don't even worry about it because if Freddy comes for you, he has to go through us." And I'm like, "You guys are not even intimidating or you have no skills." And they're like, "Oh, he's got to
Yeah.
go through us." And then he does go through them very easily.
I will say, though, it is kind of like, just to give the movie a little bit of credit,
Uh-huh.
it is nice that her dad had some character growth.
Yeah.
Because, especially for a minor character in these movies, like, that hardly ever happens. They're usually just one note.
Yeah, I thought it was nice that he came around and then he was supportive of her even though she was making the dumb decision to keep the child.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that was nice to see. I feel like these movies do make me care a little bit more about the like people who get killed than like Jason movies do.
The characters are more likable than, like, the Friday the 13th ones until you get to part 6.
Yeah.
And I do think a big chunk of that is that they had Looney Tunes in mind, so they're like
Mhm.
cartoony. All these characters have one trait
Yeah.
that we're gonna like over
Yeah.
like over oh my god, I totally blanked on that. But you know what I mean.
Like emphasize.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
I was thinking that. I was like, okay, this girl's whole thing is that she punches stuff. Like that is her whole entire thing. Like everything she does, she's so aggressive. The other one's whole thing is that he's a stoner. And it was like
Yeah.
everything that they did or said was a callback to that. And I was like, guys, felt like the sixth one could have been so much better if it had focused more on like all the adults being crazy because I thought that was interesting. Like he is only killing the kids. Eventually the adults would be just be left behind like what the fuck do we do? And that's what
Yeah.
happened. But it
But
just
can
had
I
to.
say that you and I would not be crazy? Like, that's our fucking dream world.
I think all the normal people like you and me were just at home having a good time. Like I did not care at all about the amnesia guy. I just like it's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you have amnesia?" Like I don't
Yeah, that was
care.
his whole thing.
Your counselor, I guess, found that cutout in the school and she was like, "Oh, you were here," because it was like his cutout matched what was in that scrapbook or whatever. So
Yeah.
she's like, "Oh, you've been here." And he's like, "What?" It's like, "Why are you so surprised?"
I almost want to like just recommend that people not watch it because it's
Yeah.
not good, but I do think everybody should watch it. Like, if you're gonna watch the other ones, you should watch it at least once.
And then the whole
Yeah.
like demon baby thing that happened for a little bit, like I was like, this isn't even scary. That's just what babies look like when they're born.
Yes. And like all the people are like, oh my god, what's wrong with that baby? Like,
No,
all babies just look like that to
they
me.
look like that. Like that was probably just actually a real baby that they found. And then the one nun was like, well, you know what? It's just a creature of God, so take comfort in that. And I'm like, that nun is like us. She's like, this is just a normal baby. Like, I don't know. I liked Amanda, I guess. I thought she was a little dramatic, but like when
Yeah.
Yvonne breaks her out of her tomb or whatever, and she's like a skeleton, and then she's like, "Thank you." I was like, "All right, bitch." Like, Demon
Yeah.
Freddy looked really cool, but I was like, I kind of miss like burned up funny Freddy.
I really like the idea.
Mhm.
Like when they first introduce it anyway, before Wes Craven starts his fucking weird monologue.
Yeah.
Oh, like he's like a demon and I've dealt with him before, but like I
Yeah.
trapped him in the movie and it's like I don't need any of that.
No.
But the idea of a demon
Mhm.
being like, I'm gonna take a beloved character from a horror movie franchise and I'm gonna go fuck with people
Yes.
that made this movie, like that's an interesting premise.
Like, I loved seeing Nancy again. I did not like her
Yeah.
kid. I was like another child.
Yeah.
Like, just
That's another issue.
like I felt so bad for her husband when she was like, "You have to come home. Like, our son's being weird." Like, of course he's being weird. He's a kid.
And I do have to point out that Heather in real life
Uh
did have a stalker
huh.
that would like, I don't know if he called her or what, but Wes Craven, when he's working on it, he asked her, he's like, "Can I put this in the plot or in the like story?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure, I guess." And I'm like, I guess kudos to her because I fucking wouldn't do that
I
because
wouldn't.
like I like the part when she goes to do that talk show
Yes.
and then the guy's like fucking like grilling her like, "Oh, like would you let your kids watch these movies?" Because that's the whole fucking reason they gave her a kid right there to like
I
have the
know.
should kids watch horror movies like
Mhm.
debate. It's like I'll tell you right now, the answer is yes.
They train you to be smarter and sexier.
Yep. And I also just have to say, like, okay, don't be like weird and force your kids to watch
Right.
horror movies. But if your kid is like me, like when I was 6, I saw the Halloween like box and I'm like, "Mom, can I watch this?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure. I don't fucking care. It'll probably give you nightmares, but that's on you."
Right, it was your
That's your
decision.
problem.
Learn about consequences. Like, you learn how to be like, okay, like I made that decision to watch that and I did not like it. Now I know.
Yeah.
Now I
Yeah.
understand.
I do like the part when she's like at the talk show and then
Oh yeah.
they're like, "Oh, we have a surprise for you."
Would you trust him alone with Dylan?
Robert? I don't know.
You know what? Why don't we ask him how he'd feel about it? We've got a big surprise for you, Heather, and for our audience. Let's bring him out. He is the best of the bad. Let's say hello to Robert Englund.
And then like he comes out in like the Freddy outfit and like the crowd's fucking just loving it because
Yeah.
of course they are because he's bringing his A game to a fucking talk show.
He was I was so jealous that I wasn't there.
And so yeah, I also just love like you get to see him just as himself
I
and not as
know.
Freddy. Yeah.
I always notice that the parents just suck so much in these movies. I feel like it's important that these parents it's like
Yeah.
Freddy is like I almost feel like he's not so much trying to torture the kids as like stick it to the parents for being so shitty. Like, you don't even listen to it, like you suck. You're the
Yeah.
worst.
And the parents in this universe really are the worst.
They're so bad.
How they get even worse than Freddy versus Jason.
Oh my god.
I do have to point out that Robert Englund apparently did. I don't think he did all of his own stunts, but he
Ooh.
did do like a good chunk of his own stunts when he was like in his 50s.
Wow.
He does like he did say in his book he's had like the stunt doubles for some of the like fire stuff.
Oh yeah.
But he has had to do some of his own fire stunts, even though he doesn't like doing it, because if you don't have a competent director,
Mhm.
it can turn bad real quick.
Oh shit.
Which I guess Freddy vs. Jason was one of those.
Yeah, and there was a lot of fire in that one.
In part 2, he was like, "I'm not really trained to do fire stunts, so I didn't really want to do them," but for some reason they gave his fucking stunt double a part as one of the like extras in the pool scene.
Oh. What?
So they were like, "Well, he's still filming that and we have to film this scene." on fire. So can you just do this like one tiny
But
little
he's
thing?
just
Like
like a
it's not even a
miscellaneous.
big deal.
Oh my god. It's just a
And he's
miscellaneous pool kid. Like, you can't
yeah.
replace him.
And then Robert Englund's like, yeah, I guess. And
Right.
then his fucking makeup melted to his face. And so it took longer to take it off that day. At the beginning when like those two guys show up
Uh-huh.
and then they're like trying to hook her up with one of the guys. And then she's like, oh, can you go get us some beers? And he's like, yeah, sure. And then she's like, well, now that he's out of the room, like, keep fucking stupid, get the hell out of here. But it's like, you see him
He's
clearly
right
walking
there.
behind them. It's like, you couldn't even wait till he was out of the room.
Are these the last Nightmare movies? They didn't make more after?
Yeah.
Okay.
They made a remake, which
Oh, right.
I highly recommend nobody ever watch.
It feels too soon for a remake, too.
Well, and like, how the hell are you gonna find somebody who is better than fucking Robert Englund? I'm sorry. He was the
Right.
best Freddy.
This can be our presidential logo when I'm done with it.
The friend, the one that
Uh-huh.
was like shitting on Jason, is one of the people from Destiny's Child.
Wait a minute. Is that Kelly Rowland?
Yes, it is.
Oh my god, I thought her voice sounded familiar.
Yeah.
I had no
I don't know
idea.
why she was in there, but she was.
That is so random. But yeah, her like roasting Freddie was so
Yeah.
funny. But I can't believe I didn't realize that. I was like literally listening to that roast and I was like, she has a great voice. Like, her speaking voice, even though what she's saying is like so annoying, is
Yeah.
like I'm enjoying listening to it.
And let's talk about the butter knives. What is with the butter knives?
We also need a
do.
president that's not like fucking 80 years old.
Yeah,
I'm
seriously,
sorry.
I cannot deal with the fact that these presidents are like senile. Oh, I was thinking the other day, like, what if Freddie came back and he targeted like people over 65?
And then all of us fun people will like still be around and we can just have a great time.
When we run for president, we'll have this logo, right? And it'll say clean up the streets.
Clean up the street and dirtify our horror movies. Like,
Yeah, make nudity common again.
yes. And I don't know if other movies still have nudity, but I know most of the horror movies I see nowadays do not. I can handle seeing some boobs and
I
some
see
butts.
boobs every day. Like,
I can
I can do
even
this.
handle seeing a dick. Like,
I think there
just
need to
shove
be
whatever
more
in there.
dicks. Like, the fact that I've hardly ever seen a penis on screen is
Yeah.
baffling. Okay, this is our Americanized Freddy logo. Maybe I'll put some stars.
Oh, they should be, because you know, in the third one when he's pretending to be Nancy's dad, and there's like the sparkles like
Oh
around
yeah.
him.
I love how much he pretends to be people's dads. Like, he was pretending to
Yeah.
be whose dad? Oh, Jacob's dad, even though Jacob hasn't even been fucking born yet. Like,
Yeah.
and she's like, "That's not your dad." This doesn't look sparkly
Yeah.
enough.
But you know what? Jason realized that Jacob existed, or not Jason, Freddy realized Jacob existed before fucking Alice did.
I know.
And
Like,
then
that's embarrassing.
the doctor tells her she's pregnant. Like, I wonder what's wrong with me. Like, the doctor just fucking told
He
you,
just
stupid bitch.
war will all but cease because, like, how are they
Yeah.
gonna fight a war with us if they're watching us talk about movies every Wednesday? You can't do it.
Yep.
We're not afraid to do the work. Emmy could have easily been like, I've seen these movies. Like, why don't you watch them? You haven't seen them and tell me what you think. But no.
Yep.
She said, I will watch them with you. And that way we can give the people a seasoned point of view and someone who's seen it for the first time.
And we're gonna be the best presidents. So it's
just a matter
for
of
you
time.
guys, really. I don't know if you could technically do co-presidents. I'm fine being a vice president. It's okay.
I think that our first term we'll do co-president. We'll do like the standard just to keep people like comfortable. But then we're gonna have to do co-presidents. Me either. No president ever. I didn't ever see Richard Nixon putting out content like this. JFK, Abraham Lincoln even, and everyone's obsessed with
Nope.
him. What are our final thoughts on Nightmare on Elm Street?
My thoughts are watch all the movies.
Mhm.
At least watch 1 through 4. Those ones are good. I think you should at least watch. If you want to skip 5 and 6, I'll forgive you.
Mhm.
I think you should at least watch 7 though. It's such an interesting premise.
Yeah,
Like I said earlier, I will just reiterate. Demon decides he's gonna pose as a beloved villain from a like famous horror franchise, and he's gonna terrorize the people that made the movie. Like, that's so fucking interesting.
I second everything that my co-president said. I loved
Yep.
these movies, even the 6th one, which I did fast forward through some,
Yeah.
but I kept the audio.
Yep.
But yeah, I love these movies. I think they were so much fun. Like, I'm having so much fun watching all of these horror movies, but this specifically was like, wow, nobody told me that this was gonna make me laugh so much. Like, all right, everyone.
And we'll be back with Titanic.
Titanic.
Next week.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.